I'm Tom. I'm invested in the Cosmere, and I am here with the one and only Johnny O'Neill of Brotherwise Games. Johnny, Nexus 25, the Brotherwise booth. Tell me about all the hard work that the team has put into the booth this year, what you guys are showing, what you're excited about.
Oh man, this is always our favorite show to come to. We do Gen Con, we sometimes do PAX Unplugged, but this is where all of our fellow Cosmere fans are, and so much fun. Yesterday, the RPG team actually had a cool creative summit while my brother and the core Brotherwise team members did all the hard work of setting up the booth.
Amazing.
But they have worked hard to set everything up. We've got the Mistborn deck building game metal tokens for sale for the first time here. Also, a lot of people picking up the RPG for the first time here. And so that's been pretty busy. And we've got a bunch of panels coming up this week. It's going to be awesome.
Awesome. So the Stormlight setting has come out. An amazing achievement from the team. I have been, the feedback that I get on my videos of people getting into the RPG and playing it have been absolutely amazing. But we all know that the Mistborn, the setting is coming just around the corner. One of the biggest questions I get from fans is the books themselves. Do you need, if you're, let's say you're a diehard Mistborn fan, do you need to also have the Stormlight settings books to kind of complete the picture and play the game, or can you operate in both separately?
I would say you could definitely operate in both separately. I think right now, until we release World Hopper content, these books are primarily made for playing in each setting separately. We do have a couple pages in the Mistborn handbook about how to combine some of the effects and things like that.
Sure.
Like how, just as an example, Aluminum Allomancy can cancel somebody trying to use the Surge of Division on you. So there are some built-in things, or we talk about how bronze can detect use of investiture in other places outside of schedule. But it is primarily, unless you're trying to kind of homebrew a World Hopper campaign, which you can do if you have both books, but unless you're trying to do that, you just Mistborn stuff to play Mistborn, Stormlight stuff to play Stormlight.
Awesome. I am so curious about where we're going next. And I have a suspicion that Saturday, when the Cosmere RPG Live is going on, is when we'll find out some of that information. But you personally, if you could wave a magic wand and say, this is where I think the team should go next in the setting that you're most excited about exploring, what would you say that is?
That's a good way of phrasing it. Yeah, I mean, I would say we're going to hint at, I think, our next steps on Saturday. I don't know that we'll full out announce, reveal.
Sure.
Partially because it's far enough out that frankly, Brandon could change his mind and we might go in a different direction. So I can tell you, a year ago, I thought our next setting would be and now our next setting is it's different. That has shifted.
Sure.
As a result, partially I think of Brandon deciding I'm going to write this book next, or I'm not going to write this book next, or just kind of having seen the RPG, I think this is going to be better content for the RPG, that kind of stuff. So while Brandon is very collaborative, is an awesome partner, it's also the case that if he says something, we'll pretty much pull up our stakes and do something different to accommodate that, right?
Now, I do have to hold you accountable. At Nexus 2024, you did do a cheer-based metric on which setting, and it was Warbreaker.
Warbreaker was the next one.
And now, that's what I want more than anything.
To answer your question, so why do you want it, out of curiosity?
There is such a, I would say, compared to the other Magic systems, there's such a lack of information on Awakening. And yet we know there's all this potential. We know that there is a huge connection to Nalthus in the ways in which investiture is measured, and there's all this science to it. And so really being able to dive in and explore that specific area, that magic system, that's what gets me excited. I also would love another Warbreaker book. So the idea of when do you even set the Warbreaker setting, it's all very interesting.
Well, and for example, if Brandon decided, I'm doing Warbreaker 2 now, then we probably would hold off on doing RPG stuff until he was done with Warbreaker 2. So there are considerations like that. Like when he does the novelization of White Sand, that would have a huge impact on when we release a White Sand source book. But to not dodge your question of which one I would do if I had my druthers, I would say I'm most excited for like World Hopper. And what I like about the idea of World Hopper is that you can, we could give you kind of a sampler of the Cosmere and of kind of like space age Cosmere, some of that stuff. Like there's so much cool stuff that we get bits and pieces of, some of which might not justify its own setting book, but which definitely when combined with other things could be a very rich source book. So that's an area where I think I'm like, my dream Cosmere RPG campaign is definitely a world hopping campaign, and looks a lot like what we saw in Isles of the Emberdark, where you've got like Starling and her crew. Like that is a campaign I want to play, and so I will neither confirm nor deny where that is in our release schedule, but it's definitely in our plans, and I'm excited for it.
Awesome. With your updates that you put out via email, you have this nice little grid, and on that grid are just words that don't exactly, it's almost like a tease of what's coming in the future, what you guys are working on, what's coming up. I am obsessed with what my headcanon is of War on Roshar.
Okay.
What can you tell me about that?
So, Brandon alluded to War for Roshar in his last stint with the Sanderson. I think he called it, guys, this is the complicated one.
Yes.
So I can tell you that. I think we've alluded to it being kind of grand strategy, complex, but not as, maybe not as complex as like a full-on like Twilight Imperium. Like there's a whole swath of games it will be, I think, the biggest, crunchiest game Brotherwise has ever made, but it is going to be something that is designed by John D. Clare, who did the Mistborn deck building game, and who I think does a really good job of striking a balance between like giving you a lot of complexity without overwhelming you or making it something that like you have to be super hardcore to play.
Sure.
So we will be sharing more about that on Saturday.
And Well of Ascension in the same barrel. I think that is the only thing I have heard about from that.
Well of Ascension is, I can tell you, is an expansion to the Mistborn deck building game. It brings in new like double metal cards. It brings in more content from Well of Ascension and a little bit of Hero of Ages, and it brings in a really expanded solo co-op mode that is inspired by the Siege of Luthadel. So it'll be a really good expansion, like over 100 cards. It's a shuffle-in expansion, so we're excited.
So now that the Stormlight RPG is out, well, the Cosmere RPG, the Stormlight setting is out, what would you say was sort of the biggest and maybe the most proud moment that you had working with the team getting to this release?
Oh man, that is hard to narrow down because there were so many proud moments. I think seeing anytime the team has gotten together in person, that's been very special. So a year ago, when we all got together and were able to like be on stage and talking about this stuff, that felt really, really nice. Like I remember after last year's State of Games in the Cosmere panel, we took a big group photo with a bunch of big Cosmere fans, and that was like mostly people from like Uruguay and and Spain, and like feeling that kind of like global connection to all of these people who love these books as much as we do was really, really nice. And I think when I talked recently in a little video I did about how like why did Brandon choose us when he could have chosen any book, right? He could have chosen Wizards of the Coast to do this, and I think it's because he really wanted people for whom this would be their dream jobs. And that's what he's got. He's got people working on this who are like putting our whole hearts and souls into it because we love this stuff.
Amazing. So I interviewed Andrew earlier today, and I asked him a question, and I want to get your answer to the question as well. For your Cosmere RPG character, where are they from on Roshar?
Okay, well, I have played a fair amount Jashoniel, who was a lost listener, basically. So I played him a couple years ago on stage, and swore the third ideal on stage with him, and we actually that was actually his first time swearing the third ideal. We played it with him a bunch, and so that was a very nice culmination for me personally. So he's from the Shattered Plains. He's from Narak. But
Amazing.
I've played a few different over the playtesting, as you might expect. This Saturday night, I'll be playing Jacques Ardo, who is my Goldfaring character. So he's a dilettante, somebody who just has had kind of a life where things come easily to him, and he thinks he's awesome at things, and he jumps into any situation with overconfidence, and it's okay because if he made a stupid decision, he can regenerate it from it because he's a blood maker, right? So that is I like characters where I can take some aspect of my personality and just exaggerate it, and that kind of unearned confidence is definitely something I possess in real life, but taking it to the next level is fun.
Amazing, so much. Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me, answering some questions, and good luck with the rest of Nexus.
All right, thank you.